Sorry, everybody, this is going to be a bit of a long one, but I thought I would share a little bit, based on this comment right here, and let you know what's been going on lately and some of the things I've been thinking. And there's kind of an important observation at the end. Okay, so here I am. I promised that I would share with you some musings about my parents and some of the things I've been thinking about. Lost my mom in July of last year, and then lost my dad in November of last year. So very short time between. We just passed 10 months ago on my mom, and we're just over 6 months from my dad. And not even a month after Dad died, I got a job working at a local quilt shop. And I started teaching, and teaching the introduction classes to the machines, and started in some advanced classes. I'm working on some new stuff for the fall. So I've been really, really busy and hadn't had a whole lot of time to process stuff, but it's kind of slowly started to sink in, and it was really, really good for me. So here's just a couple of initial thoughts. When your mom dies, regardless of the kind of relationship that you had with her, good or bad, it's not particularly life-shattering, but it is life-altering. It doesn't mean that there's not a lot of pain there. I loved my mother very much, and particularly in the last 10 to 15 years, my mother and I became very good friends, as well as, parent-child. But it's very much life-altering in the sense that the anchor for your life is gone. The one who was there from the very moment you took your first breath. It changes things in small, imperceptible ways. For me personally, it's like the one cheerleader, the sounding board, the confidant that I always had is not there anymore. Don't get me wrong, my spouse is amazing, and he's extremely supportive, but it's not the same. Now, as for my dad, there were many things I was coming to terms with my dad. And my dad and I had a strained relationship for a little while when I was in my teens. And then he went to Saudi Arabia for a year during Desert Storm. And he came back, and our relationship was much changed. It's also partly what led to my parents' divorce. And my dad and I never got to the place where we were best friends, but we did have a lot of mutual respect. And particularly in the last 2 years, my dad was very, very proud of me. And I came to find out that I taught him a lot about relationships. And I had learned things that he hadn't known. And I was able to pass those on to him. And he was able to look into a mirror for the first time and start to repair things with his wife. But my dad and my sister had also had a falling out several years ago. Before he died, they did get together. It was just shortly after Mom died, and it was about 3 months before Dad died. And my dad took both me and my sister out to lunch, and they were able to sit across a table face to face for the first time in 13 years. And they hadn't actually physically spoken in about 11. And one of the things that did is that my nephew did not have a chance to know my dad. They met once when he was 6 months old, and my dad did not see him again. And so what that relates to me is that now both of my parents are gone. And the one that is left that has those stories is me. I am the one who has at least the last 13 years worth of information about my dad to share with my nephew, because my sister doesn't have them. And in some ways it feels like a little bit of a heavy burden. It's probably not as heavy as it feels right now, but it does feel that way. And here's something else that I've noticed. And it's not particularly about me or about the loss of my parents, but only in the fact that it's somewhat sharpened my senses in terms of interpersonal relationships and interactions with other people. I have noticed that a lot of the people that I really admire and respect on this platform have been fighting each other. And somehow we have started to lose track of each other's humanity. And we've started to lose respect for each other's humanity. And we've forgotten how to genuinely care for one another. And that makes me sad. And maybe I'm feeling a little bit more keenly because I've lost both my parents, but this life is fleeting. It is temporary. And we have to make the most that we can and the best that we can. And the way that we do that is by building community and by caring about each other. So those are just some of my thoughts. Do with them what you will, but maybe stop for a moment and consider trying to see the humanity and providing care for the person next to you.